Meryl Streep, a record-breaking 21 Oscar nominations, the most for any actor in history. Which of her nominations do I think are the best, and which ones do I not like so much? Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender, and here we are. This is the big one, everybody. In terms of my Oscar ranking videos, this is going to be the longest one. So settle in, relax, get comfy. It's time for my Oscar ranking of the one and only Meryl Streep. Let's start with number 21, Best Actress, Florence Foster Jenkins.
Stop there.
So we start with a performance at the very, very bottom that I very much like. She is very fun in Florence Foster Jenkins from 2016. This is not a performance where I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen? How did she give the one bad performance of her long career and get a nomination for it? That's not the case with Florence Foster Jenkins. I just think, compared to her other 20 nominations, this is the worst one. This is her Oscar nomination I do believe could go and make room for Amy Adams, who gave her career best performance in Arrival. Like, Adams should have gotten in for that movie, and it's like we bumped her to include yet another Oscar nomination for Streep in a movie that's fine. She gets some laughs playing a bad opera singer. I like her moments with Hugh Grant. I don't know, it's just kind of a lightweight film that I haven't really thought about since the day I watched it. And when she got the Oscar nomination, especially over Adams, I was like, okay, that's a choice. I mean, the Academy went nuts for Meryl Streep in the 2010s. I thought after she won her Oscar for The Iron Lady, like they were gonna cool on her, maybe. But no, she gets 4 more Oscar nominations the remainder of the decade, and the one I do think could go is her Best Actress nomination for Florence Foster Jenkins. Number 20, Best Supporting Actress, Into the Woods.
As perfect as child can be.
Go to the wood!
So again, I like this performance too. Meryl Streep playing a witch in a big movie musical from director Rob Marshall. I mean, what's not to like? Into the Woods has a spectacular ensemble cast, including Emily Blunt and Tracy Ullman and Christine Baranski, 3 women who Meryl Streep has worked with in previous films. And this is probably Streep's most colorful character, like a fantasy character, to get an Oscar nomination. I wasn't sure if this nomination was going to happen. Like, I very much enjoyed her in the movie, and she gets to play like the really ugly witch, and then she turns beautiful. She gets to sing these lovely songs. I like that she has a nomination for a musical, like she wasn't nominated for Mamma Mia, and she has done so much great work in film throughout the decades singing, right? Singing in Silkwood and Postcards from the Edge and Death Becomes Her and so many things. It's kind of cool that one of her 21 Oscar nominations is for a musical, and a fantasy musical at that. I just think, along with Florence Foster Jenkins, this is a nomination that didn't necessarily have to happen. Like, I would have preferred Rene Russo had gotten in instead for Nightcrawler, somebody who hadn't already been nominated before. As I said, this is a period where the Academy is going nuts on Meryl Streep, but I think there's only one performance she gave after The Iron Lady that really deserved an Oscar nomination. Into the Woods is not one of them. Number 19, Best Actress, Music of the Heart.
Well, they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to. I mean, it would be great if they wanted to help, but these kids are going to be committed, you know? They would practice on their own, and they'd help each other in the classroom.
I would imagine many people ranking the Oscar nominations of Meryl Streep would probably have this one at the bottom, at number 21. Her playing a violin teacher in Music of the Heart, directed by Wes Craven from 1999. In one of the most incredible years in film we've ever had, 1999, the Academy didn't really reflect on all the gems we got that year in the nominations themselves, like the Cider House Rules. The Cider House rules. And then you get to Best Actress, and there's really only two fantastic performances there. Annette Bening in American Beauty and Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry, the latter of whom, of course, won. But then you get Janet McTeer for Tumbleweeds and Julianne Moore for The End of the Affair. And it's like, okay, we couldn't find any better performances to nominate than them. I mean, Reese Witherspoon for Election. Hello. And then the weakest nomination in the category, I would say, is Meryl Streep for Music of the Heart. It kind of felt like they needed to fill a fifth slot. And they were like, did Meryl Streep give a performance this year? Oh, right. Music of the Heart from October. Let's nominate Streep for playing this music teacher, an inspirational performance in film. It's fine. Nobody was really going nuts for Music of the Heart. It was a major box office bomb. The reviews were just so-so. I like Music of the Heart. You might notice it's on my shelf over here because I'm a huge Wes Craven fan. After he passed away in 2015, I spent a year watching all of his movies in chronological order, and I love his audio commentaries, and he has a great one on the Music of the Heart DVD. That's why I have it. It's not because I'm in love with the Meryl Streep performance or anything. She's good in the movie. She has some nice moments. She learned to play the violin very well. We see her at 2 different ages in the movie. Like, she's doing what she can with the material, but yeah, she didn't need to get an Oscar nomination for this. So why do I rank this higher than Florence Foster Jenkins and Into the Woods? Honestly, it's that I love one of my favorite directors of all time, Wes Craven, directed an actor to an Oscar nomination. That's why I have this at number 19 and not 21. But I very much believe to this day that Streep's Oscar nomination for Music of the Heart should have gone to Reese Witherspoon for Election. Number 18, Best Actress, Ironweed.
By God, Helen, that's as good as it gets. You were born to be a star.
Oh, you think so?
So Meryl Streep at the Oscars in the 1980s was nominated for Best Actress a whopping 6 times. 6 over just a few years. And if there's one kind of forgettable nomination she had that decade, I would say it's for Ironweed, where she plays kind of a drifter opposite Jack Nicholson. Her hair is a mess. She's got yellow teeth. It's kind of an Oscar baity role, more so than many of her other Oscar nominations. It kind of feels like Streep read the script and thought, yeah, this will get me another Academy Award nomination. She does get an amazing scene in Ironweed where she goes up to sing and she imagines she's a very good singer, and we get this long fantasy moment where she's just nailing the song and everybody is applauding and Jack Nicholson kisses her. And it's like this beautiful moment where everything is coming together for this character. But then we cut to the reality of her not being able to sing at all and kind of the devastation of that, how that affects her. I love that part of Ironweed. But the rest of the movie is very forgettable. It goes on and on. This thing is 2.5 hours long. And once again, I do think she is in 5th place here in a stacked category for Best Actress of 1987. You have Glenn Close for Fatal Attraction and Holly Hunter for Broadcast News. Cher wins that year for Moonstruck. And Streep is over the moon about her friend's victory. She jumps out of her seat and cheers. This is the only time in Meryl Streep's long career where she got an Oscar nomination for a movie that did not get her a Golden Globe nomination, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, the Globes nominate Streep for everything. Like, almost everything she's done since the 70s. She gets a Globe nomination, but it didn't happen for Ironweed. And I don't think this Oscar nomination for Streep in the 80s needed to happen either. I think for 1987, Faye Dunaway in Barfly would have been the better call. Number 17, Best Actress, August Osage County.
Where'd you wind up? What do you do? What do you do? Who are you?
Now here's another just so-so Oscar nomination for Streep, coming just 2 years after her third win for the Iron Lady. I do think many people, including myself, thought on Oscar nominations morning in early 2014, Streep was going to just barely miss for August Osage County to make room for Emma Thompson, who is wonderful in Saving Mr. Banks. I think you put those two performances together and Thompson's wins out, especially at the end when she's crying in the movie theater. That is a scene I have never forgotten. And in August Osage County, Streep is doing her thing. It's a very big, brash performance where she's screaming at everybody, screaming at Julia Roberts. They're fighting, falling onto the carpet. Like, this is not a performance where Streep is reserved in any way. Like, her physical look, her mannerisms, the way she talks, it's necessary for this character. And as a Meryl Streep fan, August Osage County is very fun to watch at times. Seeing Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts going head to head, I mean, it's hard to not be entertained by that. There's kind of a physical transformation for Streep, especially in that first scene. When we first see her in the movie, your breath is kind of taken away. She's so thin and pale and gaunt. And overall, it's a solid performance. It's not one of her better performances, but she's very good in August Osage County. And the Oscar nomination makes sense. But again, I think she's in 5th place, and I would have given her nomination this year, 2013, to Emma Thompson for Saving Mr. Banks. Number 16, Best Actress, One True Thing.
Oh, it's yarn. Look, guess who I am. Oh, wait. Clue.
Now here's another strong Meryl Streep performance in kind of a forgettable movie. One True Thing is fine. I think Renee Zellweger is excellent in it. William Hurt gives a good performance. And Meryl Streep is at the top of her game, like she normally is, in the story of a mother who is bursting with life until she's diagnosed with cancer. And then throughout the 2 hours, we see her slowly getting sicker and sicker. And it is a hard film to watch at times. Like, Streep has some truly devastating moments at the end. There's this one scene I've never forgotten where she talks to Renee Zellweger's character about how she's not going to be at her wedding and how that makes her really sad. Streep's eyes are filled with tears and she's now the shell of the woman she used to be. Meryl Streep has some really good acting moments in One True Thing. I would never put this at the bottom of the ranking, but the film overall, I do think compared to most of the other movies we're talking about in this video, is just okay. It's not one that people are necessarily talking about very much these days. You could also argue this is a very Oscar-baity project for Streep. I mean, when she read the scripts and saw that she slowly dies from cancer throughout the movie, she had to have known, this is probably going to get me an Oscar nomination. Like, that's probably going to happen, even if the movie is nominated nowhere else, which it wasn't. The only nomination for One True Thing was for Streep in Best Actress. She never had a chance in winning. That was the year that Gwyneth Paltrow won for Shakespeare in Love. Most people don't really like that win. Probably should have gone to someone else in the category, but not necessarily Streep. She was just happy to be there this time around. Number 15, Best Actress, The Iron Lady.
To hold one's head high and take pride in being British.
All right, I'm probably going to get some shit for this one, putting one of her 3 wins at number 15 of 21. I have to be honest. I'm ranking what I think are the best Oscar nominations for Streep in her long career, and I just do not like that movie at all. I have tried to watch it a couple more times. It is such a slog, and to me, maybe more so than any other Streep nomination, The Iron Lady, playing Margaret Thatcher, a real-life biopic, having makeup and prosthetics and that accent and the way she carries herself. Like, this one to me is the most Oscar-baity role Streep has ever taken on. It felt like after losing at the Oscars for nearly 30 years, Meryl Streep said, "Get me a project that will actually have me win one of these gold trophies. It's time. I am tired of losing. Margaret Thatcher, that's my ticket to an Oscar victory. And it happened, and I was excited for her. It was nice to see Meryl Streep finally win another Academy Award 29 long years after she won for Sophie's Choice. But for that film, really, The Iron Lady, it's just a bummer because that's not a good movie. Her third win should have been for Bridges of Madison County, or Adaptation, or The Devil Wears Prada, or Doubt. Like, it should have been for Doubt, let's be honest. Now, of course, I admit, even though I don't like The Iron Lady as a movie, Meryl Streep is doing excellent work in it. I can't knock the performance. Like, she is bringing it from beginning to end. So yeah, I could have ranked this closer to like number 10, number 11. Like, is this really worth having as far down as 15? I know it's controversial to some of you. I should just look at the performance itself, the nomination for the performance. But I do take the quality of the film a little bit into these decisions. And of Meryl Streep's 21 Oscar nominations, the worst film she's ever been nominated for, I believe, is The Iron Lady. This movie does not work. It is a slog of a narrative. It is definitely helped by Streep's performance. Again, she is very good, but like her third and what may very well be her final Academy Award win, it's just not one of my favorites. Number 14, Best Actress, Postcards from the Edge.
Wait a minute. Is this some kind of candid camera thing? Huh? Where's the camera?
Shut up.
I beg your pardon.
Now, this is the only Oscar nomination where Meryl Streep did not attend the ceremony. She was pregnant with her fourth child, and so she elected not to go. It is interesting that Streep, even in years where there is no chance in hell she's going to win, still shows up anyway, like the years she's nominated for August Osage County and Into the Woods and Florence Foster Jenkins. She's there in the audience, even though she's just like, well, I guess I'll enjoy the show because I'm not going up to that stage, right? She also didn't have a shot in hell of winning for Postcards from the Edge because that was the year of Kathy Bates in Misery, one of my favorite acting Oscar wins of all time. I love Misery. I love Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes in that movie. It is a showstopper, dazzling performance. Streep in Postcards from the Edge is very good. It's not like one of her greatest Oscar nominations, just because I feel like that movie is really about the pairing of Streep with Shirley MacLaine, who is a knockout as her mom, in a film written by Carrie Fisher based on her own experiences, directed by Mike Nichols. It's one of Streep's very few nominations for a more comedic performance and film. This one landed in that 4-year stretch where Streep was doing more comedies, like She-Devil, Defending Your Life, and Death Becomes Her. Postcards from the Edge is the more dramatic film of the four. There are definitely some serious issues in it, but director Mike Nichols gives the film kind of a light touch, and it's never deadly serious by any means. I like this performance a lot. It's a well-deserved Oscar nomination for Streep. I would put in this ranking somewhere around the middle. Number 13, Best Actress, Out of Africa.
Are you Cole?
Barclay Cole.
Barclay Cole, yes. I brought the ivory with me on the train.
Well, thank you.
It's kind of crazy, right? How amazing Meryl Streep is that number 13 on this list is her great performance in Out of Africa, the Best Picture winner of 1985. It also won Best Director, was a huge hit at the box office. I feel like Out of Africa is a beloved film for many. I don't love it that much. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I like elements of it. The romance between Streep and Robert Redford is lovely. The cinematography throughout Out of Africa is very nice. And Streep fully disappears into that role. I mean, it's kind of weird to watch Out of Africa and basically just see Robert Redford playing a version of himself in that film. But then Meryl Streep does not look anything like herself. her Danish accent, the black hair. Like, she creates a fully realized character and does an excellent job. It's just, I'm kind of so-so about the movie, and I am more passionate about many of her other Oscar-nominated performances. It would feel weird to me to rank Out of Africa like 5 or 6 or 7 or something. I don't think it's quite at that level. Again, she has some wonderful moments in this film. It's a fantastic Meryl Streep performance. It's just not quite as good, I would say, as the top 12. Number 12, Best Supporting Actress, Adaptation.
Oh, you fat piece of shit!
This was a movie Meryl Streep absolutely needed. At this time in her career, things weren't floundering, I would say. I mean, she was coming off of 2 Oscar nominations for One True Thing and Music of the Hearts, but I feel like at the end of the 90s, people were looking at Streep as kind of just the safe, dramatic actress who doesn't take too many chances. And what's so cool about Adaptation from 2002 was that it showed a brand new side to Streep. She gets to be very funny, she is sexy, she is scary at times at the end, unpredictable. Like, this was a role that kind of redefined Meryl Streep for a new generation. 2002 was a pivotal year for Streep. Not only is she in Adaptation, but she's also in The Hours in a more dramatic performance. And for any Meryl Streep fan, this was a beautiful time at the movies. Both of her performances are amazing, but I really do love especially that turn of Meryl Streep's in Adaptation. It is wild and bold and exciting. I'm so happy she won the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress that year. She didn't quite win the Oscar. That was the season of Catherine Zeta-Jones winning most everything for Chicago. But I bet Streep was in second place that year at the Oscars for this most marvelous performance. Number 11, Best Supporting Actress, The Deer Hunter.
It's Nick.
Now, 21 Oscar nominations for Meryl Streep. The Deer Hunter nomination was her first. Way back in early 1979, Meryl Streep went to the Oscars not having a clue she was going to be back at the ceremony. Time and time again over the next 50 years, right? And what a very cool first Oscar nomination it was for Streep to get in for The Deer Hunter, that year's Best Picture winner, also won Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Christopher Walken, and it's just a magnificent film, a 3-hour epic that's very much in 3 acts. The first act is that wedding sequence, the second act is at war, and the third act shows the aftermath of that war. Streep is in acts 1 and 3, and she's talked about in interviews how she kind of saw herself in The Deer Hunter as just the girl, that she didn't have very much to do in that movie. But I think she's very good in The Deer Hunter. There might not be a whole lot for her to do on the page, but she still makes her character of Linda memorable and 3-dimensional. You can feel her pain a lot in that final hour. And really, she's the only woman in the movie. Like, she's the only female character with some resonance. And it's like, well, if you're going to have only one in this crowded field of men, male characters, you might as well have a young Meryl Streep bringing her A game. The Deer Hunter is a fantastic movie, one of the greatest of the 1970s, and Meryl Streep, right at the beginning of her film career, showed the greatness that was to come. Number 10, Best Actress, The Post.
It's no longer my husband's company, it's my company. And anyone who thinks otherwise probably doesn't belong on my board.
Okay, so as of this recording, Meryl Streep's 21st Oscar nomination for Steven Spielberg's The Post is her most recent nomination. It's kind of weird that from 1979 to 2018, her longest gap between Oscar nominations was 5 years, between Postcards from the Edge in 91 and The Bridges of Madison County in 96. Basically, every 2 to 4 years, we could count on a new Meryl Streep Oscar nomination. And right now, it's been 6 years since her nomination for The Post. She has not filmed a movie in a long time. So I don't know if or when that 22nd Oscar nomination is coming. I'm hoping it's a couple years away, that Meryl Streep is going to make another movie soon and be back at the Oscars as a nominee. That would be really cool. But even if, God forbid, The Post was her final Oscar nomination, she would have ended it with a good one, because I adore this movie and I adore her in it. I do believe the last brilliant performance from Meryl Streep in a film was in The Post, playing Kay Graham, the nation's first female newspaper publisher. She inhabits this character beautifully. I love how she interacts with Tom Hanks, having to converse with so many men at her job. It's just like almost all men, and then her right at the top, and she has to make a lot of decisions in that narrative. And her most memorable moment is that scene where she makes the choice to publish, and Steven Spielberg knows he doesn't have to get too fancy with the camera. Just stay close on Meryl's face, and he will get everything he needs. I thought The Post was very engaging and harrowing, excellent performances all across the board, and Meryl Streep is doing some really phenomenal work in that film. She had no chance for a win. This was the year of Frances McDormand sweeping the season for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. But again, if this is Meryl Streep's final Oscar nomination, she went out with a great one. Number 9, Best Actress, Julie and Julia.
Do you know how to bone a deck?
No, but that's exactly the sort of thing that I'm very interested in learning how to do.
How frickin' charming is Meryl Streep as Julia Child in Julie and Julia, the final film from writer-director Nora Ephron. That is such a lovely movie. I have seen it 4 or 5 times. I try not to watch it on an empty stomach. I don't know about you, because Ephron loved her food, and the way she captures food in that movie is amazing. I know some people have issues with it, but I really love the back and forth between Meryl Streep as Julia Child and Amy Adams as Julie Powell. Of course, the better scenes in the movie, the scenes I more take with me, are the ones with Streep. She is just so much fun to watch in this. It's not really like any other performance she's given. There's a joy, a verve to life she expresses in that film. Her relationship with her husband, Paul, played by Stanley Tucci, is just so wonderful. I love them together, obviously, in The Devil Wears Prada, but there's something really warm and delightful about their romantic pairing in Julie and Julia. Streep is just wonderful in this film. She gets to show so many layers of comedy and drama. And she probably could have won her 3rd Oscar for Julie and Julia if it hadn't have been for 2 things. One, she's only in about half the movie, and this was also Sandra Bullock's Oscar moment for The Blind Side. But no matter, this was a much-deserved Oscar nomination for Meryl Streep, one of her 10 best. Number 8, Best Actress, A Cry in the Dark.
I can only go on the evidence of my own eyes. We're talking about my baby daughter.
Now, people talk all the time about how Meryl Streep can disappear into a character to the point where you forget you're watching Streep, and she is just becoming that person, and it's happened often throughout her career. But one of the prime examples of that, I would say, is her role in A Cry in the Dark. As an Australian whose infant child is snatched by a dingo, this devastating true life story is handled with dignity and grace, and it features 2 wonderful performances, the first by Sam Neill as her husband, and Meryl Streep in A Cry in the Dark. I feel like this might be her most underrated Oscar nomination. You don't hear too much about this film these days, but I think it's a great one, and Streep is not playing the perfect woman in this. Like, she can be unlikable at times, and that's a part of this particular character. Her Australian accent is flawless. It is unbelievable. You listen to Meryl Streep in A Cry in the Dark, and you're like, Okay, I know she has a knack for accents, but this is kind of blowing my mind. That's what Meryl Streep does in this movie. It is a sublime performance. Again, underrated. If you have never seen A Cry in the Dark, do yourself a favor and check it out. Number 7, Best Actress, The French Lieutenant's Woman.
Sometimes I pity them. I have a freedom they cannot understand. No insult, no blame can touch me.
So Meryl Streep is in a few films at the end of the 1970s, but 1981's The French Lieutenant's Woman was her arrival onto the scene as a lead actress in cinema. She hadn't really played a big role in a film until this one, right before she does Sophie's Choice. The French Lieutenant's Woman is kind of an oddball movie in that Streep plays two roles. One is an actress, and the other is the character she's acting within the film. She has a lot to do in this movie. She has to be believable as this British woman in a period setting, and then also as a contemporary actress who looks and sounds nothing like the character she's playing in the film. And it's more, I would say, a brilliant technical exercise from Streep than it is like one of her better movies. I've watched The French Lieutenant's Woman twice, and I like it. I admire what it's trying to do. I really dig this Meryl Streep performance, and I really enjoy her chemistry with Jeremy Irons. They have a very interesting back and forth. It doesn't all work, I would say, but there's a lot to like here, and that Meryl Streep performance, it was good enough that she almost won the Oscar. She won Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama at the Golden Globes, and she won Best Actress at BAFTA, so she got close to an Oscar victory as well, but this was the year of Katharine Hepburn in On Golden Pond, and the Academy elected to give Hepburn her 4th Oscar win instead of giving Streep a 2nd. It probably worked out for the best because the following year she's in Sophie's Choice, and I wonder if they had given her the Oscar for The French Lieutenant's Woman, if they would have given her the Oscar again a year later for Sophie's Choice. Maybe they would have, but maybe not. And that would have been absolutely devastating. So it all worked out in the end. Even though Streep did not win for The French Lieutenant's Woman, she gives a great dual performance in this film that really showed off for the first time her very impressive skill set as an actor. Number 6, Best Actress, The Devil Wears Prada.
Girls Recital was absolutely wonderful. They played Rachmaninoff. Everyone loved it. Everyone except me, because sadly I was not there.
I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. I feel like some people might say, this ranking isn't high enough. Devil Wears Prada should be 2 or 3, but then I feel like others might say this is too high. That Devil Wears Prada was just a fun summer blockbuster comedy. She's not even like the main focus of the movie. Anne Hathaway is the genuine lead actress of the film. So I could see some people ranking Streep's Best Actress nomination for The Devil Wears Prada more like 10 or 12 or even 14 or something. I don't know. For me, I just adore Meryl Streep as Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada. It's one of her most iconic performances. She is bringing it in this movie. She totally could have phoned in that performance. Made that character just a villain, a monster, kind of one-dimensional, and she never does that in this film. You understand what makes that character tick. Those long monologues are sensational. The way she's soft-spoken when she could be yelling. That later scene in the hotel room where she is not wearing any makeup and we see the real Miranda Priestley for the first time. Meryl Streep was perfect casting in this movie. Every time she is on screen, you cannot look away. And I feel like because this was a summer comedy, the Academy could have pushed this performance to the side. They could have not nominated this one just because of the genre. But you know what? Almost 20 years later, I feel like I'm not alone in suggesting that maybe Streep should have won her 3rd Academy Award for The Devil Wears Prada. She is that good in this movie. I watch it all the time. I've probably seen it 15 times, maybe more. Whenever it's playing on TV, I will watch it straight through to the end. Everybody is great in it. Anne Hathaway, Stanley Tucci. It made a star out of Emily Blunt, who is delicious in her supporting comedic performance. And then Meryl Streep is just perfection as the boss from hell in The Devil Wears Prada. Number 5, Best Actress, Silkwood.
They're killing me. They're trying to kill me. They want me to stop what I'm doing. They contaminated me, you know that?
I know, I might be sounding like a broken record at this point. I mean, 21 Oscar nominations to get through here, everybody. But holy cow, what a beautiful performance Meryl Streep gives in Silkwood from director Mike Nichols, 1983. She's acting with Kurt Russell and Cher, and this comes right after Sophie's Choice. I mean, in that film, she totally transcends into a space and time we have rarely seen from an actor in the movies. So it's like, how do we follow that up? Oh, let's give another groundbreaking, incredible performance in a movie, Streep playing the real-life Karen Silkwood in a contemporary story. Something we don't see a whole lot from Streep in the 80s, like her playing a contemporary, kind of average Joe American, just going and doing her job, trying her best, and then suddenly finding herself in a situation where she believes it's her duty to locate the truth, even if it means putting her life in danger. She again completely loses herself into this character. After a while, you forget you're watching Streep. I love her relationships with the characters played by Kurt Russell and Cher. Mike Nichols has such a way with actors, it's no mystery Streep would reunite with him again and again. She worked with him on Heartburn and Postcards from the Edge and Angels in America. Like Angels in America that won Streep an Emmy, her working relationship with Nichols gave us some truly spellbinding performances, including her phenomenal turn as Karen Silkwood. Now again, this was the year after Sophie's Choice, so Meryl Streep was not going to win another Best Actress Oscar just 1 year after Sophie's Choice. That was the year Shirley MacLaine finally won her Oscar for Terms of Endearment, but I'm happy the Academy made the right choice by nominating Streep again. Number 4, Best Supporting Actress, Kramer vs. Kramer.
I came here to take my son home. And I realize he already is home.
So now we arrive at Meryl Streep's first Oscar win in early 1980 in the Supporting Actress category for Kramer vs. Kramer. What an amazing movie this is. I have seen Kramer vs. Kramer at least 10 to 12 times, and I get something new out of it every time I watch it. I find this movie so emotional. It really tugs on your heartstrings. It doesn't make Dustin Hoffman's character or Meryl Streep's character the villain ever. You understand why Streep's character of Joanna leaves at the beginning, and then why she comes back. But we as the audience have spent so much time with Dustin Hoffman's character of Ted basically being the only parent to this young boy, and so we are kind of on his side because of the film's point of view, I guess. But Joanna is not the villain, and Streep never plays her as such. She is devastating in that first scene, basically leaving her child behind to go find herself. I imagine audiences in 1979 were probably thinking of her as the villain of the movie, even though Streep is giving this performance, this character, her everything. I think we can look at this character today as somebody who needed to get better mentally in order to become the parent she knows she can be to this child. And even though Meryl Streep is not in Kramer vs. Kramer very much, like after the first scene, I think she's basically MIA for about an hour, maybe longer, but she's so memorable in this film. She makes the most of her every moment, of her every scene. Her monologue in the courthouse, which she apparently wrote herself. I don't know if everybody knows that. What she says in that pivotal moment at the end, when she's talking about why she left and why she's there now to be with her son, it's somehow even more emotional knowing Meryl Streep herself wrote those words. And that very final scene, like everybody is on their A game here. Dustin Hoffman, who won the Best Actor Oscar, Justin Henry, who got an Oscar nomination in supporting actor at 7 years old. Robert Benton, the director, does marvelous work in this. He won the director Oscar. The movie won Best Picture. Everybody was really going nuts for Kramer vs. Kramer, and I still think it is a masterpiece. One of my favorite films of the 70s. I could watch it once a year. And Meryl Streep as Joanna Kramer, what a very much deserved first Oscar win. Number 3, Best Actress, Doubt.
You haven't the slightest proof of anything.
But I have my certainty. And on with that, I'll go to your last parish. And the one before that. If necessary, I'll find a parent. Trust me, Father Flynn, I will.
I believe it in my heart to this day that Meryl Streep's third Oscar win should not have been for The Iron Lady. It should have been 3 years prior for Doubt. This is one of her finest performances in the movies. I was bowled over by what she accomplished in Doubt, especially given it was released the same year as Mamma Mia. I mean, talk about polar opposite performances. Meryl Streep in Mamma Mia, a lightweight musical comedy, and then later the same year, we get her devastating, quiet, absolutely harrowing performance in Doubt from writer-director John Patrick Shanley. It was quite something, I must say, to see Meryl Streep bite into her role this juicy, this well-developed, this unpredictable and three-dimensional in a sea of amazing actors, including Philip Seymour Hoffman and Amy Adams and Viola Davis. Everybody is giving us their best work. Everybody is bringing their A game from one scene to the next. And the story and the screenplay and the dialogue are at such a high level that all you can really do is just sit back and enjoy and let this narrative play out in such a way that moves you and makes you think and does not beat you over the head. Doubt leaves you with so many ideas of what may or may not have happened, and it's just a thrill to watch. Again, those performances, all 4 of the main actors got Oscar nominations, and for good reason. I mean, this kind of made a movie star out of Viola Davis. In just her few minutes of screen time, Amy Adams continued to prove just how good she can be, and then the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, especially when he's going head-to-head with Meryl Streep. That one scene where they go off on each other, I have never forgotten. And then Streep's final emotional moment in Doubt is just a masterclass in acting. I know this was the very much overdue Kate Winslet's moment to win an Oscar finally after many years and nominations for The Reader, but really, that Best Actress Oscar win should have gone to Meryl Streep. Number 2, Best Actress, The Bridges of Madison County.
Maybe we'll see each other and you'll change your mind.
Yeah. If that happens, you have to decide. Because I can't.
Alright, so here it is. My favorite Meryl Streep Oscar nomination that's not Sophie's Choice is The Bridges of Madison County from 1995. The absolutely absorbing romantic drama she made with Clint Eastwood. In a career of so many incredible performances, this is one of Streep's very, very best. She gets to show so many shades as this character, an Italian woman named Francesca, who is in kind of a loveless marriage. She's got her kids and kind of a quiet life that she's settled into. But when her kids and husband are away for a few days and she's all alone at the farm, this handsome photographer played by Eastwood rolls into town and completely flips her life upside down. They're just flirtatious at first, but then they have this intense love affair that you think might end with her leaving with him. Leaving her husband behind and starting a new life with this very exciting and beautiful man. But it's not that easy. And in this character, Streep really takes us into the mind of this woman who has options, who has decisions to make, and she's not quite sure if she should go with her heart or if she should do the more practical thing. Everything leads to that devastating scene in the rain, in that truck, when she has to make the decision. Does she go with the photographer? Does she stay in her loveless marriage? And it's like every single viewer puts themselves in her space, in her mind. You are with her. You understand whatever decision she makes is going to be the one she feels is right. And Meryl Streep's performance in that scene is just breathtaking. It is one of the finest acted scenes I think we've ever gotten in the movies. It makes me cry every time, even though I understand the decision she makes. It's just a movie moment for the ages, and Meryl Streep is more than up to the task. She has done so much great work throughout the decades, but there's something about her performance in The Bridges of Madison County that I just think makes it one of her finest hours. And she didn't win at the Oscars that year because Susan Sarandon, kind of like Kate Winslet, was overdue in '96, had received 5 Oscar nominations without a win, so they gave Best Actress to Sarandon for Dead Man Walking, but I would say easily just as deserving would have been Meryl Streep winning her 3rd Academy Award for The Bridges of Madison County. And now, finally, we arrive at the number 1 choice. What do I think is Meryl Streep's best Oscar nomination? You know what's number 1. You know. It's, of course, Best Actress, Sophie's Choice.
Komm, ich schick sie beide weg. Ich schick beide Kinder weg.
Nein,
Ja doch, du musst
zwingen Sie
wählen.
mich nicht zu wählen.
Komm,
Ich kann nicht wählen.
Honestly, what more is there for me to say about this performance and this Oscar win? I have chosen Meryl Streep's Academy Award victory for Sophie's Choice as the best acting Oscar win of all time. In all the categories. In supporting actor, supporting actress, actor, actress. This is the best one. In almost 100 years of the Academy Award, how many acting trophies have been given out? A lot. Hundreds, thousands. The best one is Meryl Streep for Sophie's Choice. This is such a landmark performance in the history of film. The movie that made Meryl Streep Meryl frickin' Streep, right? Like, I think part of the reason it was so hard for her to win a 3rd trophy is that every time she got another Oscar nomination, it was kind of being compared to Sophie's Choice. And it's like, how is she ever going to live up to what she accomplishes in Sophie's Choice? Nobody, no actor could ever live up to that ideal. And so it's like we love her in Out of Africa, Cry in the Dark, Bridges of Madison County, and Adaptation, and Doubt. And it's like, well, she's good, but she's not Sophie's Choice good. And that just, it wasn't fair. You can't do that when you're looking at her latest and greatest performance. There's only so much Meryl Streep can do, right? But near the beginning of her career, she got the role of a lifetime and she gave it everything she had. I mean, the physical transformation, the emotional transformation, what she does with her voice in that movie and her accent when she's pale and emaciated and needs help, when she has lots of love and joy in her life, and those horrific flashback scenes to World War II. The scene where she has to make her choice. I mean, that has to be one of the most difficult scenes to watch in any movie ever made, and that's mostly because of Streep's performance. The way she screams for her daughter and no sound comes out. It is, I mean, it's too much. It is too much to take. This is a powerful film from director Alan J. Pakula. It has some wonderful performances in it from Kevin Kline in his film debut and Peter MacNicol. I love the art direction, the costume design, the cinematography, sense of place. There is a lot to love about Sophie's Choice, but the best thing about that movie is the Meryl Streep performance that continues year after year, decade after decade, to be a prime example of phenomenal, masterful, first-rate acting in the movies. This is a magnificent performance for the ages, and so thank God the Academy made the right choice in giving Meryl Streep the Best Actress Academy Award for Sophie's Choice. I love her speech, this beautiful moment in her long career. Meryl Streep has been at the Oscars a lot since the 1970s. Like a hell of a lot, but the best nomination and the best win was in early 1983 for Sophie's Choice. And real quick, what's a performance Meryl Streep is given in a film that did not get an Oscar nomination, but I think should have, was Madeline Ashton in Death Becomes Her.
I did not. Admit it. No, you admit it. You look me in the eye. And you admit you thought I was cheap.
This is by far, by a mile, my favorite Meryl Streep performance that did not get an Academy Award nomination. I mean, I understand it. It's a fantasy, comedy, supernatural film. Like, it won Best Visual Effects, but Death Becomes Her was not going to be a major player in the top categories at the Oscars. I get that, but Meryl Streep is such a hoot in this movie. She is so funny, so inventive as Madeline Ashton. I mean, talk about going for it, right? Death Becomes Her does not work if the three principal actors are only giving their performances like 80% or 90%. Like, to make the character of Madeline Ashton work, Meryl Streep had to take some chances and go to places she's never really had to go in other roles she's played in movies throughout the decades. And in Death Becomes Her, she nails it 100%. I do think this would have been a very cool Oscar nomination for Meryl Streep. Whew! And finally, here is the ranking. Number 21, Best Actress, Florence Foster Jenkins. Number 20, Best Supporting Actress, Into the Woods. Number 19, Best Actress, Music of the Heart. Number 18, Best Actress, Ironweed. Number 17, Best Actress, August Osage County. Number 16, Best Actress, One True Thing. Number 15, Best Actress, The Iron Lady. Number 14, Best Actress, Postcards from the Edge. Number 13, Best Actress, Out of Africa. Number 12, Best Supporting Actress, Adaptation. Number 11, Best Supporting Actress, The Deer Hunter. Number 10, Best Actress, The Post. Number 9, Best Actress, Julie and Julia. Number 8, Best Actress, A Cry in the Dark. Number 7, Best Actress, The French Lieutenant's Woman. Number 6, Best Actress, The Devil Wears Prada. Number 5, Best Actress, Silkwood. Number 4, Best Supporting Actress, Kramer vs. Kramer. Number 3, Best Actress, Doubt. Number 2, Best Actress, The Bridges of Madison County. And number 1, Best Actress, Sophie's Choice. Thank you so much for subscribing and watching this very long video all the way to the end. Let me know in the comments below, how would you rank Meryl Streep's 21 Oscar nominations? And we'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.